One of the problems is that there are many authentication technologies. It is painful for users, customers, and IT staff. But on top of that, each comes with their own API, which is each time extra work for developers and release planners. And it is really important to do it right. If not, you'll have a security problem with bad press and an angry boss. Let's take a look at standard Windows authentication. Have you all used them? Do you remember how long it took you to implement them in your application? Windows Integrated is perfect for Active Directory users in your corporate domain. And the Active Directory account can be used for all your internet applications. If the server is in the safe zone of your browser, then single sign-on is guaranteed. Because even though there is a domain account validation per website, it happens underwater, invisible to the user. But when you acquire a company, then you need to create trusts, open firewalls for that sort of traffic, etc. Then the model shows its limits. But what if the acquired company uses Unix or Java? Then it will be even harder. On top of that, it does require a significant amount of knowledge and configuration. Just think of service principal name, extended protection, etc., etc. When you go to the internet, Kerberos stops, because the clients on the internet cannot get to your KDC. But good old NTLM might still work, so integrated might still work, but it depends on many other configuration things. A common way to do it for external clients is using a SQL Server with user ID and password. Maybe you can use the same SQL Server database for several applications, but it does not provide single sign-on. You will have to supply your password per application, unless of course you have built your own single sign-on in the past. In that case, you will recognize many of the principles used in DAP-IF immediately. Here too, it is very well doable out of the box, but there is a learning curve. You can use the membership provider of ASP.NET for your SQL database, and in practice, many people ended in a situation where several account databases with duplicate users, unfortunately, often one database per application, especially if they were written on different platforms. This was bad for users and for IT staff. If you want to enable both window interfaces for your internal users and forms authentication for your external users on the same application, then you need to do a significant amount of magic to let different authentication methods work properly. If you need higher levels of authentication, then certificates is a common practice. When talking about a learning curve, then this certainly is a topic with a long and steep learning curve. PKI in itself is a serious topic. Then configuring IIS. You need to set the SSL attributes on the proper directory, you need to enable certificate mappings, and then you find out there is this alt name field, and oops, your client certificates were from an external non-Microsoft CA, so issue as subject mappings doesn't work. You have to add it to the Active Directory yourself. In the end, it did work, of course. Where certificates are concerned, I was lucky, because I learned how it worked from the ADFS version 1 implementation. ADFS 1, just like ADFS 2, had implemented all of it. I only had to learn to fill the AD with certificates issued by the RSA CA, and that was it. So each authentication method has its own API and configuration issues, but also a programming model. And if an application needs more than one authentication method, then you will still have to define and implement your own wrapper to isolate yourself from the difference. Surely there should be a better way to get there, isn't it?